All right, bam, we're live here. We're live here. Bam. Hey there, Jay Allen, welcome. Good to see you, brother. Just getting started. Had a long day today. I was at it was a big event in my area for restoration contractors. They put it on down at our, we have a casino in Maryland, the Horseshoe Live. And anyway, it's around about like, they probably had like 200 contractors down there. So yeah, right. It's like when do I sleep? Some days not as much, man. I don't. When I was younger, right. So I went to college for a few years, and we would tell ourselves, "You get plenty of sleep when you die." Yeah, sleep's important. I try to get 6 to 8 hours, but every now and then there are nights where it just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, especially when you have like this conference today. Because of traffic in our area. Like in Maryland, we have probably some of I think the second worst gridlock in the country. It's terrible. So when I have to get on our beltway and travel, I had to go down into the city, which Baltimore is just trash. So anyway, yeah, today's been a real long day, but you know, tomorrow's not going to be as long. Anyway. You ever hear the power of naps? You get like a 20, 40-minute nap in here and there. Sometimes that can be, as powerful as sleeping an extra hour or two. Yeah, it was a pretty interesting event. So I would tell you that the restoration business, it's a little different than what we do, right? I mean, really? Oh, brother, I'm going to tell you right now, sometimes there's nothing better, like midday, you get like a 20-minute nap, maybe mid-afternoon. At least that's when I tend to find myself feeling the most tired. It's probably around like 2 in the afternoon if I sit down. Now, if I stay on my feet, it's not so bad. But yeah, sometimes like a little 20 half-minute nap, boom, wake up. Yep, it's like a whole refresher. You're ready to start your whole second half of the day. Anyway, I I really think they should. That's what's it over in Spain. They do the siesta. Is that where they take the midday? Everybody goes home from work for like an hour and then comes back or something like that. I feel like America should adopt that. Yeah, I got it. You let everybody know you don't take naps. Naps are for wimps. They're for babies. So this conference was pretty interesting. The you've probably seen these guys, these insurance restoration contractors. Some people call them storm chasers. Mostly they deal with like loss, like if there's a major flood, a sewage backup, a tree falls through a house, tornado, fires, all that. Most of it's water damage that these guys deal with. There aren't as many fires these days. And so it was interesting. They had some of the big companies from across the country there, and they were talking about legacy. That was a big part of the theme. You had you had one contractor in there. The business had been passed down to more than one generation. They'd been in business for 100 years as a company that helped homeowners repair houses from loss. Like you had maybe three or four companies two or three that were there that had been in business for like 70 years, and multiple companies that they're maybe been in business like 30 years and they're in transition now. The owner is passing it down to a child, daughter, son, whatever. So they were talking a little bit about that process, and that's always an interesting one. A lot of people like to talk about legacy for a business, especially a family business. So, um, and it was interesting to see how so they have to work with insurance a lot, right? That's how most of these guys get their jobs. So it was interesting hearing how they handle that process. All in all, so it's good to be around other people that are, doing well in an industry. You see all the same characteristics, but I get some good ideas from being around people like that. So anyway, not a bad day, all in all. How about for you? Do you everything? Your dad's still recovering well? Yeah. Ooh, yeah, long. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine. Uh, there's a my grandfather had to go to a nursing home years back, and I can remember going to visit him. He was only like 63. It was sad. Um, he worked himself hard, and then as soon as he retired, he had some health issues hit him immediately. It's really sad, but I couldn't do it, man. The When I would try to go in and see him, and just being around um, that type of an environment where people are really struggling, like I could pick up on the pain that a lot of people were in. I don't know, they call it empathetic, I guess. It was, yeah, it was draining emotionally, physically. So, and yeah, if you're just sitting around, and I feel for you, brother. I can hear you. It takes a lot of patience to go through all that. So yeah, so but it's good that you can be there for your dad also. So I mean, I guess you find a way to get through it. You were keeping the pace, like you weren't letting anything slow down. Is that what you're telling me? Hey, good for you. That's the mindset, right? You gotta figure out the way to say we're gonna get through this. I hear you. So good. That's awesome. Yeah. Circle of life. I mean, it's a for whatever I think what you're doing. It's cool that you can do that for your dad. I think it gives you a better appreciation for life. Probably. I think in America we don't have that. We first. Let me preface that. A lot of the multi-generational families that I see, they um, they have a much more of appreciation for life, right? There's grandparents living with grandkids and their kids, all in like more of a community sense. Whereas a large percentage of Americans, we kind of isolate from the multi-generational experience. So I think there's a benefit to what you're doing for sure. And, so it's honorable, and I'm glad you're finding a way to move through it. All right. Yeah. So very cool. I think you get a lot of insight, and you know what I mean? You probably end up appreciating the smaller things in life, and we start recognizing, like, whatever issue you might be having with your vehicle or an employee or a homeowner, at the end of the day, is probably not that big of a deal. Like, it's kind of a first world problem, like we're lucky to even have this problem. So had when I first got into business, I took on a lot of I would take on some stress, let's call it. I had a hard time relaxing, right? Because in this business, you're never there's always more to do. You're never done. And I'm the type of person that I want to get done, or I want to get to the next thing. And it'll kill you, right? You'll burn yourself out because you're never done. And I had a gentleman that I was talking with, strategy coach, I hired, and he taught me this trick. He asked me, I said, hey, I want you to look at where you park your vehicle and then how you approach your property, your house. And you have to find something, an object that's fixed, a bush, a tree, a downspout, the side of the house, a telephone pole, whatever. And you have to, every day, from the time that you shut the door in your vehicle, as you approach the house, before you get to the porch, steps, whatever, the door, you have to like stop and touch this object. I picked a downspout that was over on right by where the drive. I had a side driveway that I would park the work vehicles on, and I would touch that downspout, and I would pause for a minute, and that was my mental reset to say, Mike, whatever problems that you had from work today, they end here. You leave them behind you, and when you walk into that house, you come in as if with a person with no work problems. You don't carry the baggage into the house. I don't know. It worked for me. That's a struggle that I have. It's leaving that thing there. Otherwise, I want to bring work wherever I go. I don't know if that's like that for other people or not. That was something I had to learn over time. Yeah, exactly. You have to get grounded. 100%. Yep. Because otherwise, for me, I tend to live up here a little bit more. Um, the I'm always working on living more here. That's not my natural uh, framework, I guess I call it, right? I tend to be more of a person who's up here. And there's strengths and weaknesses to either. A balanced person, the goal is to have some up here and some here, and regulate it. But yeah, being grounded makes a big difference for sure. So all the fun things that you try to learn about yourself, because I mean, at the end of the day, most of us, at least for me, I'm like my own biggest enemy. I get in my own way. I mean, I want to blame somebody else at first, but it's always me. Yeah, right. Like it's a work in progress. I'm thankful for where I started to where I am, and I'm hopeful for where I would aspire to be one day. And so being at this conference was really interesting. You see the power in I call it modeling. Like if let's say your father demonstrated some really admirable qualities when you were growing up, that ends up often putting you at a higher base level for life. You just have these social skills, you have this awareness that other people may not have. And at the same time, some people, their family dynamic or upbringing puts them up here. And the way I look at it is I'm listening to they had a panel of people. It was like 5 multi-generational families. They flew them in from all over the country, and they're up there speaking. And you could tell some of these kids that are in their like 20s, man, they're sharp. They have a foundation. They have a level of understanding up here and here about the world, about other people. I didn't have that in my 20s, and you can tell that they had a good family structure that solidified or provided that foundation. And the way I like to explain it to some people is it's like some of these individuals, they were basically born on third base. And yes, it might appear that they've hit a triple or they're getting ready to have a home run. They didn't have as far to go. Like some people are born striking out and have for them to get to first base takes 10, 20 years to get to second base, because some of us, we all start at different places, our foundational level. So I hope that makes sense. Anyway, all right. So, but if you had a parent that provided a good foundation, give them a high five or a hug and thank them, because you've had some of us have much simpler lives based off of that foundation that somebody else provided for us. All right. So leveraging reviews. You, Jalen, do you have a bunch of reviews on Google right now? So you've been 1 year in business. And has that been working out for you? Is that something that you specifically ask homeowners for? Does your spouse follow up with clients after a job's been completed when you're collecting and making sure all the payments through? Do you guys have a process for asking for those? Awesome. Okay. So you've gotten 30 now. Have most of those come, as they say, organically, as in it didn't require any effort on your part other than doing a fantastic job for them, and they just went about and did that as part of their way to thank you? Or did you have to somewhat ask? Okay, so House Call Pro has a process. As the job gets completed, it sends them a message and asks them to complete that. Were you using House Call Pro the whole year, or is that something you instituted later in the year? Okay. And if you had to guess, I'm assuming if you've had 1 year, you were telling me, I think maybe 3 or 4 jobs a week, 50 times. So you've probably had 150, 200 customers over the individual 150, somewhere in that range, individual customers, and you've been able to get 30. You have 30 5-star reviews. You might have more reviews. It's just that's how many that are 5-star. I think that's what you're saying. So that tells me that you're getting maybe, what's that? Okay, so you probably had okay, that's awesome. If you did, okay, so your first year, let's say we'll call it 100. All right. Well, 90 marks better in your favor because you at least have 30 reviews. That's very high. That's awesome. To have 30 5-star reviews based off of 90 clients first year, you're crushing it. Great job. That's awesome. So what I'm going to talk about tonight for a minute is how to increase that if you wanted to, or for some people, just how to even get their first few. I think by you having House Call Pro, I think that makes a big difference because it takes the pressure off of you. You don't have to stand there and have that awkwardness potentially where you're like, hey, Mr. Miller, would you mind, right? Tell me how good we did. Share your experience type of conversation. So let me jump into what I have here. I'll go through it, take maybe 10 minutes, and we'll go from there. All right. You still do. Okay, good for you. Yeah. So I always am cautious how I bring this stuff up because everybody's at a different place. In my world, we now live in a place where businesses live or die based off of their reviews. You see it happen in social media right now, or in the media. This the cancel culture, when somebody does something bad or perception is bad to the general public, people will then try to cancel them, right? And one of the ways they do that is, if it's a business owner, is they'll go on and just start crushing that person's Yelp page or Google review page or Facebook page, and they'll just call them mean things and write terrible reviews, right? And that business owner is just floundering. And vice versa. If everyone loves you in the moment, you're getting nothing but positive reviews. that energy just keeps going. Okay, so where I'm going with this is 10, 15 years ago, it was some of us could feel awkward asking for a review, but today it's mandatory. Like you have to have reviews, um, and it's part of the business. So there's nothing wrong with you asking. But when I talk to customers, they say, "Yeah, well, hey, you're where you're at." You know what I mean? I bet a lot of your customers probably don't even. They probably are shocked that you're while you have a lot of industry knowledge and you've done a lot in the field. I bet some of them are surprised you only have that you were this is your first year running like a real business. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, and it's everything, right? Like I've even with running my own business, I'm aware of the impact that giving reviews helps to other businesses and what it helps for mine. And yet I don't always properly position and ask, nor do I always provide and give a good review when someone does a good service that I'm the benefactor of, right? So some of us, whatever, it's like it has to become like a muscle or discipline. Um, it is what it is, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. Where some people I know are really good about giving them and getting them. So anyway, I think 30 is awesome. For me, I'm the type of person I need it's something to be automated to help auto. And once I put it in place as a system, then I can do it over and over again, where I don't want to have to be thinking much about it. I just want it to become my habit. So let me share some of my thoughts on the matter. I'd be curious what you think. But anyway, you're doing awesome with the 30. That's especially to have that many 5-star, in my opinion, for the first year. So I think the way that this is the way I go about it, is leveraging the review in a way where I share with the homeowner that if you were really satisfied with our service, one of the best ways that you could thank us is to just share your experience, however it was. I ask you to just, if you thought like we did something that frustrated you, put that in there. If you really, there was something about our service that really impressed you or stood out, please share that. I just ask you to share an honest, come from here and put that in the review. And I've shared with people that that's one of the best things you can do for us, because just like you, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, probably read some of these reviews to try to determine whether you were going to call us, talk to us, entertain us as a possibility. So are many other people. And everyone has a lot of the similar fears and worries that you did. If you could even share that, say, hey, we weren't sure who to hire. We were concerned. And there was and we're glad that we hired so and so. I've found that positioning it that way seems to help me get better responses from people, as opposed to what I think a lot of people do is they would say, hey, could you write me a review? Would you put something on Google or Facebook? Anyway, I feel like giving them a little bit of a guidance, and saying, we've had a lot of other homeowners that weren't sure, and we understand that it's frustrating sometimes to have to go on and do the review, but boy, it would be, if you feel that, like if you were in public and you would tell your friends, man, such and such company, they were amazing, they did this, they did that, would you just say that in writing for us? So, all right. So that's kind of the concept I'm going for here. And I bring, yeah, it 100% would, Jan. If it doesn't always have to be from you. You could hire like a VA, an assistant. You could hire some kid, somebody in another country, and they just you send them over a spreadsheet like at the end of the week, and you say, hey, these are the 5 clients that we did work for this week, and they follow up for you. They might make a phone call, they might send a text message, yes. I think you would probably hit 100 reviews, for sure, this upcoming year, no problem. So yeah, that's definitely, yes, that's part of having that process with a little bit of follow up. So, and I'm talking about all this because there's been, look, nowadays everything's being tracked online. That's what's amazing. Like you can put trackers on your websites. You can track just about anything. And obviously, I'm sure that when you land a client, somebody, whether it's you or your spouse, whoever's talking to that client over the phone, I'm sure you're asking them, how did you guys hear about us? And then hopefully you're following up with, and what one thing made you decide to hire us, right? So you always want to know, how did they find you? And then what was it that put them over the edge so that they hired you? Um, anyway, when you start getting all this data, they right now, a lot of the studies coming out are saying that it's like 87% of consumers are real. I don't read a lot of reviews, so this is a far, because I don't trust them. But anyway, that's just my own mindset, and I realize I'm outside the norm on this. But it's like 87% of consumers say that the ratings and the reviews influences their buying decision more than any other thing, more than a celebrity endorsement, more than what the website says. Like, it's shocking how many people are reviews matter. Huge. Okay. Um, and they also found that, especially for services like yours and in response, home services, um, remodeling specifically for sure. Like if you're going to hire somebody to be in your house for 6 weeks or 6 months, man, these homeowners are doing some digging online to figure out if they can trust you, because they don't want to get saddled up with a joker, Um, and they're finding that what's also interesting is, even if you get a bad review, it's not the end of the world. Your response that you put back, the way you reply to that person, can totally sway a homeowner back to your side. Because even homeowners can recognize that we all have a bad day. That could be one thing. You could have made a mistake. Something could have just not gone your way. You could have been late because there was an accident, it was out of your control. And the homeowner's like, well, we did the job, but he was an hour late, whatever. But if you can reply back and just state your position, say, hey, Mr. and Miss Smith, you're right. We were an hour late and we had notified you there was an accident, right? And unfortunately, it did cause us to be late that day. And, that is not our standard way of operating. So we appreciate having you as a client. When you respond in a positive way, in a sense, by kind of giving some details, even if you get a bad review, it sways it back into your direction, can actually be more beneficial than the initial any other positive reviews. So that was another interesting thing they found on these studies. So where I would go with this is, even if you have a client that it wasn't the best experience for one reason or another, you have different personality styles, whatever. They're in a really pissy mood. They're going through a divorce. Their cat pissed them, whatever. Um, it's it's still good to get a review from them, which to me, I found that interesting. I wouldn't have thought that to be the case. So, but you have to manage it. You have to reply if it's a negative review. And you may know, I don't know if you ever read any of the comments on some of my videos. Um, by and large, I've been very thankful. I get good comments. I have very few negatives and even fewer trolls. The people that are sitting at home pissed off, hate the world, hate themselves, and so they have to lash out when somebody's trying to give a positive message. I get it. When you're in a bad place in your life, the last thing you want to hear is some joker telling you to life can be great, right? um, I My approach has been, as best I can. Now, I'm a human as well. Sometimes I'll be like, that jerk, like what they're gonna say. But I try to come from, like, if somebody's going to write a bad comment to me, I feel for them because I know they're in a bad place. I don't have time in my life to be going around critiquing and writing bad reviews on other people trying to do something in the world, right? Like if I think it's trash or I don't like it, I flip the channel. Like I'm not gonna engage in whatever. That's just my style. So, but where I say that is, I hope that people that do look at the comments can see that, hey, that person could be right. Like what they're saying, that's their perception, that's their feeling. Like I get a lot of people that don't like, I wouldn't say a lot, but the one comment that I've probably gotten now 10 times that's similar is, I get it. A lot of people don't like the way I make all my edits, and that is it's a choice that I made early on to make my videos different from other people so that it would stand out. And I run the risk. Whenever you try that, you run the risk of frustrating some people. So, and I get it. It's not for everyone. And it really, what's interesting about the psychology behind it is people that are experiencing high levels of stress, those videos trigger them. They can't handle it. They're already anxious. They're already stressed out. And when they see a video that's flipping every 3 seconds and changing, and it stresses them the fuck out. Like so, and I feel for them. And like I'm like, hey, so my content might not be for you. Yeah, I'm on the East Coast, Oliver. I'm out of Maryland. How about yourself? Where are you from? So I share all that to say that I think that even when somebody gives a negative comment, even on like my videos, I see it as an opportunity to do the best that I can to respond in a way that I'm trying to do is educate and help that person out as well. And then maybe, so all right, North Carolina, very cool. You ought to tell me. So I'm on the like right off of the Chesapeake. Uh, you come up the Chesapeake Bay, and I'm on the like the western side. So I don't know, by boat, 40 minutes from the about northwest of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. What part of North Carolina are you from, Oliver? So, all right, let's jump back into this. So, reviews. Oh, Raleigh, nice. Okay, so you're in a metropolitan area. Very cool. You tell us what type of work do you do? What's your like specialty? You full service remodeler? You do kitchens? Are you an exterior guy? You do like siding, windows? Oh, very cool. Okay, HVAC. Well, we have Jay Allen does plumbing, so welcome. My, I think you can take stuff from the content. Understand my background, general contractor, right? Full service remodeler. Um, In-house employees would do all the carpentry style. I would sub in my state, right? We have to have licensed electricians, plumbers, HVAC for most work. I can move some duct work if I had to. Um, I know how to bend metal and things like that. But I'm not setting a unit. I'm not replacing a boiler. So we would hire guys. So I share all that to say that the concept of this account or channel, if you're new, is to talk remodeling like business strategy. Okay, ways to not get beat up so bad in the industry. Get around some other guys that are winning. Learn some tactics, skills, to make the business fun again, get your life back in a sense. So tonight I'm talking a little bit about my concept for how to help you get good Google reviews, social media, Facebook reviews that you can put on your website, wherever you want to use them. Okay, so I welcome you. I don't think I've seen you before. If you've been following the channel for a while, thank you. Welcome. So The good thing about getting reviews, as you know, John, is if somebody puts that review on Google, for instance, you can take a screenshot. uh, Good question, Oliver. So today is day 94. I've gone live 100 days straight talking about a circle of running a full service business. And then I did 54 days prior to that. So we're coming up. So I've been doing this, what's that, like 148 days straight. I come on and talk about one component to getting your business together. I talk a lot about something I call the remodeler's vault, and those are your systems and your frameworks. You, what I think you might be asking, and follow me for a minute. When I got started in the business, everything was here, right? So I had to be everywhere that I wanted something done. I either had to be the one speaking it, the one writing it, the one doing it, the one explaining it, because it was all up here. I, over time, had to get it onto pen and paper, basically, or into the computer. And this was an arduous process. It was painful. I could not stand it. I like to move like this, even though I'm a slow talker, but like moving through space, I don't like to sit down and write all this stuff out. But it was killing me in business because I couldn't get out of my own way. I expected my employees to know what I was thinking. That's how crazy I was in the beginning. Like I would get pissed at them because they couldn't do it the way I expected it to be done. And the problem was I didn't properly explain it. I didn't hand them a manual so that they could be successful. So if you follow me through that, if you are looking to systematize, right, organize, it starts with you documenting how you do certain tasks that you can break out in the business so that you can hand that file to another person so that they can do it the way you want it done. It's not that they do it the exact same way as you, because they're most likely they have their own personality. And in fact, their personality could be better suited. But where I'm going with this is the goal is that we get the same outcome, right? So for me, with my lead carpenters, I had to allow them to have their personality and their style. And believe me, this was a challenging couple years to allow carpenters to run job sites the way that they saw it was best. What I focused on was, guys, this is the goal. I would come up with our framework. It's a code. Like, this is why the company exists. This is what our goals are. This is what we are achieving. And this is what the result needs to be: a satisfied client, right? A project that we're all proud of and we like to brag about and show off to people, and a company that everyone is proud of to be working for. So those were the core principles that you put into place. Now, each carpenter or technician in your world is going to have their own little way of going about it. I had guys that were much better with certain homeowners than I ever could be. In fact, they loved Kenny, for example. I would have homeowners that like, Mike, we want Kenny to come back in 6 months and do the next project for us. I'm like, you got it. Kenny's your man. That's all that's said, done, right? And okay, so if you follow me through all this, you start with the simple things, right? And I can walk you through all this. I'd have to understand where you're at, how many years you've been in business, how many employees you have now, where do you want to go, how many employees are you hoping to have, what's your volume, right? What are the roadblocks that you're running into right now? But most of it, in a very simplified sense, Oliver, you got to get it out of here, and you have to treat everyone like they're a third grader. Not because you're being rude, but because even most of America talks at a third grade reading and writing comprehension level. And that's the most effective way to get a message across. So you just break it down to its simplest parts and what's the goal that you want. And then we just start writing up SOPs, standard operating procedure. So for you, here's how your technician gets into a van every day. This is the things that they should be checking. Do they have enough refrigerant? Do they have enough fittings? Whatever whatever type of work that, you know what I mean? There's a checklist for it. Maybe it's something that's laminated on the back door. I don't know. Those are things you figure out over time, right? And then you go over how they greet homeowners, right? How do they park the vehicle? What's their presence supposed to be like? Are they wearing a hat and a shirt? Do they carry in a clipboard to do their checklist and do the 7-point checkpoint that they go over the homeowner because they're evaluating the system on a service call? Are you making sure that they wear the blue over booties, right? So that their homeowner's not pissed off that they were just out back checking the condenser, walking through the mud, and now they're coming in to look at the air handler, and they got mud on their shoes. All these things become a standard operating procedure. And the only way people learn that, it's the way like Subway and Chick-fil-A, right? They literally give you step-by-step how to open a store, step-by-step how to make a sandwich, step-by-step how to make a smoothie. You do this, you do this, you do this. And then the employee puts their own spin on it. So hopefully all that tracks. If you follow the account, you can always reach out to me or come on to any other lives. All right, I want to jump back into testimonials here. So follow me on this one. Some of our clients don't know. Oh, thanks, Jael. Some of our clients don't know what to say. They want to say something. And introverted people, this can be a little bit harder for them. So if you recognize that you have a client who's more on the introverted side, understand that it's not like they don't care. It's they might not know how to express that they care. And so it might be very challenging for them to write a review. Whereas if you can help them with showing them some samples of what other homeowners have said about your company, and you could say, look, the Smiths, they really enjoyed this about us, or they enjoyed that about us. And sometimes that can help get that person who lives up here and has a hard time. Then they feel like, oh, now I know what to say, so I don't sound like an idiot. And then they'd be more willing to write that testimonial for you. Again, these, we're seeing it every day. Like, you need these reviews because they become the foundation for other people making a decision about hiring you. And we have to keep getting them updated. You don't want, Jayon, you're in a perfect spot. All yours are new, 1 year old, and you'll just keep growing. Whereas sometimes you can have some that are like 10 years old, and it's like, that ain't gonna fly. People are gonna be like, what's he been doing the last 5 years? How come there's nothing new? Now, awesome, perfect. Oliver, if you're free to, whenever you see, you reach out, and over time we'll get to know where you are. I have a video that I'm offering. I still have a couple slots left. If you want to do a 30-minute call, service non gratis, meaning like I'll talk with you about your business. We'll do 30 minutes. You tell me what your pain point is. We can look at some possibilities for things to consider. I'm happy. What you have to do is you follow the account. You'll find that video. It's probably like 5 or 6 videos back at this point. And you can comment that you want to sign up for one of those slots. As long as there's a slot left, I'll message you. Okay, you don't have to do this. I'm just putting it out there that it's an option. I'm very appreciative. I am new to the TikTok world. I've only been on here a couple months. It's from my perspective, it's been going really well, and I'm very appreciative. My goal is to give back. That's what I'm trying to do. So I'm not saying I can solve any problem at all, but I'm happy to share what I've seen others do, okay? And say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. So Oliver J. Allen's out of the Houston area. He's signed up for one of the calls. They're going to start next week. Jay Allen, you'll be getting a message about that, okay? So, and there are, I know there's a couple slots left. Somebody signed up this morning, but there's still a few more left. All right. Da-da-da. And if you can't find the video, Oliver, if you DM me, you have to tell me, just remind me that we were on one of these calls and that you're interested in that slot. But the best way is if you message, because what I'm doing is I'm keeping a total on the comments in that video. That way everybody can, I like to be transparent. And I want everyone to see like, hey, I offered you X amount of slots and these are the people that have responded. So like they're all gone, you know what I mean? Or there's still a couple available. I'm not sure how it's going to play out over the next couple of days. All right. Okay, so let's go back to these testimonials. It's interesting. If you only have 5-star, some people can start to think that's a little suspect. So again, what I was saying is even if you have a client that you think goes terrible, it's still worthwhile to ask them to do a review, because you always get your chance to reply back to maybe why the review isn't a 5-star. And so what I'm saying is you don't want to get hung up this is my opinion. I don't want to get hung up on only getting 5-star reviews. That's why I keep my comments open on the video. I don't delete comments. So if you see a comment on the video, it's there. There are some that I've missed and I haven't been able to respond to them. I mean, it gets a little overwhelming at times. But literally like 2 nights ago, I spent over an hour and a half just combing through videos and seeing, did I miss any comments? Have I missed any comments? Like I do what I can to address every comment, positive or negative. But overwhelmingly, I mean, 90% of them probably or higher are positive. There's very few that aren't. But that's the reality of the world, you know. And the more the controversial the topic, the more the negative reviews are going to go. Sometimes I try to stir a little controversy at times. Obviously, you know, sometimes I have an opinion that I know might not be favorable, and hey, it's my channel. So if I want to share that, like I'm just being myself. You're getting the real Mike, if that makes sense. Okay. All right. So Jay Allen, when you were talking before how thinking you need some follow-up, most of the people that have had a lot of success getting reviews, they all talk about having a process. And it starts with initially sharing with homeowners that like you're very thankful and appreciative of past clients who give reviews and how recently, like it's amazing. It's called a pre-frame. You'll say to the homeowner, Mr. Smith, you know, it's been amazing last year. Like my last 30 customers have all gone on and given us a review when the job's completed. And we've been very thankful and appreciative of it. You don't say anything to them about asking them for a review. You're sharing experiences of past clients and what your best past clients do. And then you drop it. You just move on to another subject. And that gets them thinking, oh, so he has clients that their past clients, they write reviews. You haven't asked for the review. You're just bringing it up. So that's a pre-frame. That can be pretty powerful to do. And then obviously when you're handing over the invoice or closing up the job, thanking them, saying, you know, some of our best clients wanted to find a way to thank us. And the best thing that we have found and the thing that you could do that I would be most appreciative of is you just share your experience online, you know? So that's a way that you're not begging for it. You're not saying, Mr. and Miss Smith, you know, can you give us a review? I don't know. That's just so, and get it. I have my own personality and that's my style. I get it. Some people have a different approach. At the end of the day, though, you have to be bringing up the reviews on, in my opinion, every job. Now, once you get like 200-300 reviews, sure, you can back off a little bit here and there. But let's see. Your yes, Jay Allen, who books most of your guys' client appointments? Is your spouse helping over the phone, or is that all you? Are you booking the the service calls. Okay, so this might be something to share with your spouse. This is also a pre-frame. It's called an assumed outcome. And just follow me for a second here. One of the things that she can add to her repertoire when she's talking to the homeowner is saying, all right, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we have our technician scheduled. And once you're on our calendar, we're fairly confident you're going to join our list of homeowners who have said they were very thankful that they found us. And so much so that when everything was done, repairs completed, they've gone on and shared their experience and given us an online review. So that's something that you guys could work on, but it's another point where it can be put out. You're not asking them to give you a review. You're sharing how other clients that have hired you give you reviews because they're satisfied at the end of the job. And that's what a satisfied client does, is help. So anyway, it's an interesting thing. They call it so that you could position early on in the appointment. Yeah. Okay. And you guys might already be doing this. So perfect. So by bringing things up frequently, it just makes it seem normal. You don't appear desperate because you're not asking, you're just explaining, right? And yeah, they're always satisfied. Exactly. There's no other option for the homeowner. But and that's a good thing. And you're already doing all this. It's like 1 or 2 tweaks, and I bet you'll be getting even more glowing reviews. You might even start getting homeowners that want to have like a selfie with you at the end of the job. That could be your next move. All right. And what ends up happening is these testimonials, you'll start littering your website with them. You're going to have them on Google. You'll get them on your Facebook page. Yeah. So anyway, where I'm going with this is you want to position the testimonial, the recommendation, the referral, the writing the review. You want to bring it up early in the process and not have it as this last minute thing that you're bringing up asking, right? The first time they hear about the possibility of writing a review for your company, hopefully isn't going to be when you're handing them the bill or when they get the reminder from House Call from your CRM. Let's see, the AI prompt is you could tell it like, hey, I'm a plumbing business, I'm a remodeling business, I'm the marketing strategy person, I'm trained in applied relational intelligence, and I need to create a system that helps me leverage reviews and testimonials effectively. I need to include a post-project review capture script. And this could be something that is verbalized. It could be text messaged. It could be emailed, right? And you could possibly provide people with some examples of what people have said in the email. Like, hey, this is what some other clients have said. We'd love it if you'd share your experience. And that helps the people that don't know what to say, so you're not telling the person what to say. You're just saying, this is what some other people have said. Yeah. So thanks for paying attention for that one. And that's everything I have. Any particular questions on those reviews? Let's see. Thanks, Jan. Hey, while you're here, I thought Goat might pop on. I'm doing a Friday. We're gonna do another Rebel call. If you'd like to be on it, it's gonna be. I gotta double check the time. I think I put down 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so it'll be Friday afternoon for you. I'm not following you for a minute. Help me. Okay, hold. When you're saying the, I'm not following for a minute. I'm not. You mean for the homeowner? Would it be bad if you did a follow-up call with the homeowner after you provided the service? I I I don't think it would be bad at all. I think homeowners will be shocked that you're calling. I think it's a good thing for you to do a follow-up call. Like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, hey, this is, Justin, I was your technician. They know who you are. However, I was out. I did your plumbing repair the other day, and I wanted to see how you're doing. How's everything going? All right, awesome. Yeah. If it were me, I would start incorporating something like that. And look, whatever you think is appropriate. You could do a 24-hour. You could also factor that or gauge that based off of what's the level of anxiety that the homeowner is experiencing. Like when you left the project, did the homeowner have a certain level of anxiety, like, hey, this might not solve my problem, or I'm really still worried about the issue? Those are the type of people like a call the next morning would be very beneficial. Like, hey, want to check in? It's been, overnight. Is everything still good? Other people, it could be a day or two later, end of the week, whatever. Again, I think you have some flexibility. And at the moment, with you doing the call, all the service calls, you probably can factor in. You just have to have a way of, somebody has to put that on your calendar. It could be your spouse, like literally you two, you could call her, right, or send her a message saying, hey, put on my calendar for Thursday at 4 p.m. a follow-up call to the Joneses. You know, put that in my calendar so I know I need to make that call. That's how I would approach it. Or you could just start a standard thing where every 5 days or every 3 days, once a service has completed, you've closed out the service call, then it automatically books a follow-up phone call that is either done by you or by somebody in the office. I think either person works. It's what can you handle with your time schedule, because you have your skill set. Yeah, 30 days is perfect. Whatever. Yeah, man. I don't. I think it would all be good. Any of it. So, so yeah, I would. I would. Yeah, I'd put it into your. If you put it into your CRM, you'll do it because you won't have to think about it. You'll just. What I'm getting at is on your calendar, it'll show up like an appointment in a sense. Oh, I need to make that phone call. Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me double check that time. And I'll send you the Zoom link on Friday. And I look, I get it. I know it can be tough for you guys because of the time difference. So Okay, it's going to be, it's a little earlier. It's 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I get it. I know that that can be tough on your schedule because that's kind of like your midday. Yeah, yeah. So it's going to be 3:30 Eastern Standard. Um, so and it'll be a similar format to like this one where we'll probably take a minute, do some. We'll just do like a little intro. Everybody can just introduce. You know, I'm not expecting a big call. I'm not inviting a bunch of for this one. So, but we'll do a little introduction, and then I'm going to talk on doing some. It's called the pre-construction meeting, so it's going to be a little more remodel focused, how to transition. Yeah, so 4:30, almost dark. I know, man. It's like getting dark at 5 o'clock here. It's crazy. I don't like it. I like more sunlight. But anyhow, and it'll be so the premise is this. It's guaranteed, all the calls are guaranteed 30 minutes. But generally what happens is there's generally some good interaction. So the call, I'll stay on longer. It could go an hour. Um, just depends. If everyone's getting a lot of good content out of it, and if I don't have another thing booked right after, then I can do an hour, but it'll at least be 30, probably 45 minutes. So, but yeah, so well, I'll send you the link for that, and hopefully your schedule will accommodate. Cool. And yeah, anything else going on? Anything talk about anything? Otherwise, we'll wrap things up here. No, I'm just I need to get probably a little bit of rest. I have another early call tomorrow. So I'm working on, I have some guys that were building some software for remodelers, similar to like what maybe like a House Call Pro does. Not the same, but it'll have some similar capabilities. But um, I see it more as something that's really built from the understanding of, in my opinion, what a service-based or remodeling contractor really needs, right? It has to help you come up with your price quickly and easily. So the whole how to get a quick estimate template together, and then how to easily move that into an agreement that you and the homeowner can finalize. So that's what, and it has the ability for you to talk to it, so you're not having to type all the time. Yeah. So anyhow, I got a call with some guys first thing East Coast time tomorrow to go over that. So I can't be on here too late tonight. So anyhow, yeah, man, exactly. So all right, cool. Jan, again, very much appreciative. Thank you for sharing your experiences too with the reviews, and keep crushing it. That's awesome. So to get 30 in the first year, that's amazing. So you're doing a lot of things, brother. All the good things. You make winning look easy, I'm sure. You guys are like, this is a piece of cake. All right. Listen, have a great night, and I'll be back tomorrow night, and then you'll on Friday you'll get the link. Okay. So appreciate you. And thank you. Take care.